The NASA Deep Space Observation Center sat quiet in the Nevada desert. Most people had gone home for the evening. The night shift had just started, and the building hummed with the sound of computers and machines working without stop. Dr. David Patterson stood in front of a large screen in the data analysis room. He was a man in his mid-40s with dark hair and tired eyes. He had been working at NASA for 20 years. He knew space better than most people knew their own homes. His coffee was cold now, but he did not care. He was staring at something that should not be there. Rebecca Morrison sat at the desk next to him. She was young, maybe 30, with sharp features and sharper eyes. She had worked with David for 3 years. She was one of the few people he trusted completely. Right now, she was looking at the same screen he was looking at, and her face showed confusion. "Say it again," David said. His voice was flat. "I need to hear it one more time." Rebecca pulled up the data on her screen. These energy signatures appeared 4 days ago in the Kuiper Belt. They moved in a straight line for 2 days. Then they stopped. Then they moved again, but not randomly. The pattern shows purpose. Something is controlling the movement. David leaned back in his chair. He rubbed his eyes. "How many people know about this?" "Just us," Rebecca said. "And the automated systems that picked it up. I flagged it for review, but it came through as a low priority alert. Most people think it is just cosmic background noise or solar wind patterns that we have not seen before." David stood up and walked closer to the screen. The data was clear. Multiple energy signatures, too strong to be natural, moving in patterns that no space object he had ever studied could produce. The movement showed changes in speed and direction. The changes showed thought. They showed purpose. "This is not natural," David said. His words came out hard and sure. "I know," Rebecca said. "I ran the test 3 times. I compared it to every known phenomenon in our database. There is nothing like this. Nothing." David grabbed his jacket. "We need to talk to Henry. Tonight." Rebecca's face showed worry. "David, he will think we are crazy. We have no proof. We have data, yes, but nothing that explains what we are seeing. He will send us home and tell us to sleep on it." "Then we sleep on it," David said. "But we tell him first." Dr. Henry Cooper was in his office on the 3rd floor. He was a big man, nearly 60 years old, with gray hair and the look of someone who had made hard choices before. He was the supervisor of the entire Deep Space Observation Division. He did not like surprises. David and Rebecca entered his office without knocking. Henry looked up from his desk. "It is almost midnight," Henry said. His voice was not angry, just tired. "We found something," David said. He did not waste time with greetings. Henry listened while David explained. He looked at the data. He asked hard questions. Questions that David had already asked himself. When they were done, Henry sat back in his chair. He said nothing for a long time. "This data is real?" Henry asked finally. "Yes," David said. "And you cannot explain it through known phenomena?" "No." Henry stood up and walked to the window. Outside, the desert was black. The stars above were bright. He stared out at them for a long time. "If this is real," Henry said slowly, "it means something is moving through our solar system. Something intelligent. Something that does not want to be seen." "Yes," Rebecca said. "And you both understand what that means?" Henry turned back to face them. "If this becomes known, if this becomes public, everything changes. Everything." David nodded. He understood. "Keep it quiet," Henry said. "Run more tests. Build a better monitoring system if you need to. But keep it quiet. Do not talk to anyone else. Not yet. Not until we are absolutely sure. Absolutely certain." David and Rebecca left the office. They worked through the night, building new algorithms to track the energy signatures more closely They set up monitoring systems that would alert them immediately if the signatures appeared again as the sun came up over the desert. They had their answer. The signatures were moving again. They were moving toward Earth. Not directly, but the trajectory was clear. The pattern showed something following a course that would bring it closer to the solar system's inner planets. Closer to Earth. David sat at his desk, watching the data update in real time. The signatures moved steadily through space. He thought about what this meant. He thought about how the military would react. He thought about how the government would react. He thought about how the whole world would react. But mostly, he thought about the fact that something out there was moving through space with purpose and direction. Something was traveling toward humanity. And humanity did not know. The world was sleeping, eating breakfast, going to work, living their lives. They did not know that they were not alone. They did not know that something was coming. Rebecca stood beside him, also watching. She looked at David. "What do we do?" she asked. David did not answer right away. He was thinking about the data. He was thinking about the patterns. He was thinking about how to make people understand what they were seeing. "We track them," David said finally. His voice was hard and sure. "We track them, and we learn everything we can about them. And then we tell the world." Outside the NASA center, the sun climbed higher in the sky. The desert was hot and empty and vast. But above that desert, above the world, something moved through space. Something that thought humanity did not see it. Something that believed itself safe and invisible. But humanity had seen it. David Patterson had seen it. And now, everything would change. Rebecca smiled slightly. "They have no idea we are watching them." David looked at the screen, at the signatures moving steadily through the void. "No," he said. "They have no idea at all." 3 weeks passed. David and Rebecca worked in secret. They told no one what they were really doing. During the day, they performed their normal duties. At night, they ran their own programs. They built new systems. They tracked the signals. Kyle Turner was the one who helped them without knowing he was helping them. Kyle was a young engineer, barely 25, with bright eyes and a mind that never stopped working. He thought David and Rebecca were working on a new cosmic mapping project. He did not know the truth. They needed him because he was the best programmer in the division. "Why do you need this kind of processing power?" Kyle asked one night. He was sitting at a terminal, his fingers moving fast across the keyboard. "Government research," David said. It was not a lie. It was not the whole truth either. Kyle shrugged. "As long as it does not break anything, I do not care." With Kyle's help, they built something powerful. A system that could track multiple signals across the entire solar system. A system that could predict where those signals would be based on their previous movements. The data they collected was impossible to ignore. Over the 3 weeks, more signals appeared. Not just in the Kuiper Belt, in the asteroid belt near Mars, near Venus. The signals were spreading out. They were moving in different directions. But they all seemed to move with purpose. They all seemed to be surveying something. They were surveying Earth. Rebecca found something that made her call David immediately, even though it was only 7 in the morning. "I hacked into the military satellite network," she said. Her voice was shaking with excitement and fear. "David, they've been tracking this too. They have been tracking this for months. Military satellites have captured everything we have captured, plus more. They have visual confirmation." David felt his stomach drop. "They have pictures?" "Yes. They have classified files going back 6 months. 6 months, David. This has been happening. And the military has known about it the whole time." They sat in David's apartment that morning, looking at leaked military files that Rebecca had pulled from a back door in the classified system. The images were not clear, but they showed shape and structure. The alien ships were long and thin, almost like needles. They moved silently through space. They carried weapons that the military had cataloged but not understood. Why have they not told anyone? David asked. Fear, Rebecca said. They do not know what to do. They do not know if these ships are a threat or just observers. They do not want to cause panic. The next move was dangerous. They needed someone from the military to talk to them. Someone who had clearance to know about the signals. Someone who would listen instead of dismissing them. Dr. Lisa Chan worked in military liaison for NASA. She was in her late 30s, with a calm face and the kind of sharp mind that saw patterns others missed. She had the security clearance. She had the access. David and Rebecca decided to trust her. They brought her into the locked room in the basement of the NASA facility. It was a secure space where they could talk without being recorded. David explained everything. He showed her the data. He showed her the military files that Rebecca had obtained. Lisa listened without saying much. When David finished, she stood up and walked to the window. She looked out at the desert for a long time. You realize what you have done? Lisa said finally. You have accessed classified military systems. That is a federal crime. Yes, David said. But it had to be done. Lisa turned back to face them. I have known about these signals for 4 months. It has been driving me crazy. The military wants to stay quiet. They want to study the signals before they make any moves. They think that if they reveal this to the public, there will be panic. There will be chaos. There will, Rebecca said. But it will pass. What will not pass is keeping this secret. People have a right to know. Lisa nodded slowly. I know. That is why I am going to help you. She moved to the computer terminal and pulled up files on her security access. Military tracking data. Satellite imagery. Signal analysis. Everything the military had collected. Everything that proved the aliens were real. We need to go to the director, Lisa said. We need to go to the top. We show them this data. We show them that we have proof. Real proof from multiple sources. We show them that keeping this secret is no longer possible. They will deny it, Rebecca said. They will say the data is fabricated. They will blame us. They will make it look like we are crazy. Maybe, Lisa said. But maybe not. Sometimes, the right person in the right position at the right time can make the right decision. We have to try. That afternoon, David sent an email to Dr. Harrison Wells, the director of NASA. He asked for an emergency meeting. He said it was critical. He said it could not wait. Wells agreed. He met with David, Rebecca, and Lisa in his private office. It was a large room with a view of the city far below. Wells was a serious man, older, with the weight of leading a major government agency. David laid out everything. The data, the military files, the tracking systems, the evidence that something was moving through human space and humanity did not know about it. Wells listened. He asked questions. Hard questions. Questions that David had already answered for himself 100 times. When David finished, Wells sat back in his chair. If this is real, Wells said, we need to inform the president. We need to inform the United Nations. This is not something NASA can handle alone. It is real, David said. I am certain. Wells stood up and walked to the window. He looked out at the city. Millions of people lived down there. Millions of people who had no idea that their world was about to change. Pack your things, Wells said without turning around. All 3 of you. You are going to the Pentagon. You are going to brief the Joint Chiefs. You are going to show them this data. And then we will see what humanity does when it learns that it is not alone. David felt Rebecca squeeze his hand. Lisa smiled slightly. They had done it. They had broken through the wall of silence. The truth was going to come out. The aliens had believed they were unseen. They had believed they could move through human space without being discovered. They had believed that humanity was blind and helpless. They were wrong. Humanity had seen them. Humanity had tracked them. Humanity had discovered them. And now, the world would know. Operation Tracker began on a Monday morning. Military forces from 12 different nations worked together for the first time in history. Satellite systems linked to unified networks. Ground stations were activated. Sensors that had never been used before were turned on. David sat in a control room deep beneath the Pentagon. The room had no windows. The walls were covered with screens. Hundreds of people worked at hundreds of terminals. All of them were focused on one goal: to track the alien presence moving through human space. Lisa stood beside David, coordinating with military commanders across the globe. Rebecca was in an office next door, running calculations on the advanced computer systems. Kyle had been cleared for classified work and was helping manage the data flow. The first week was successful. They tracked the alien ships to specific locations. They mapped their movements. They recorded their patterns. The aliens moved in a formation that showed military discipline. They moved like they were surveying human territory, like they were making notes. On the 8th day, everything changed. The alien ships suddenly accelerated. Their speed doubled, then tripled. They altered their course in ways that showed panic. The smooth, measured movements became frantic and chaotic. "They know," Rebecca said. She was standing in the doorway of the control room, her face pale. "The electromagnetic pulses they are sending out now are different. They are strong. They are disruptive. They are trying to disable our tracking systems." Military satellites started losing signal. Ground stations experienced interference. The unified network that had been working perfectly began to fail. Alarms sounded throughout the Pentagon facility. David's heart was pounding. "Can we recover the systems?" "Some of them," one of the military technicians said. "But they are destroying our ability to track them. In another hour, we will be blind." Rebecca turned to David. "I need to go back to NASA. I need to use the deep computing core. I need Kyle's help." David nodded. "Go. I will keep things stable here." Rebecca drove through the night. Kyle met her at the NASA facility. She brought him to the secure lab. She explained what she had been working on. "Quantum entanglement prediction," she said. "Instead of tracking where they are, we predict where they will be. We use their past movements, their velocity, their acceleration patterns. We calculate the probability of their next location." "That is not possible," Kyle said. "Quantum prediction requires data sets that are too large to calculate." "Not if we use parallel processing," Rebecca said. "Not if we use the entire quantum computer cluster. We run the calculations across every available processing thread. We do not try to track them. We try to think like them." Kyle understood. He started writing code. His fingers flew across the keyboard. He created algorithms that had never been created before. He linked processing systems that had never been linked. Rebecca watched over his shoulder, pointing out calculations and patterns. 12 hours later, they had it. The system worked. When they tested it against the known data, the predictions were accurate. They knew where the aliens would be before they got there. David received the report at the Pentagon. The military ordered all available aircraft to positions Rebecca had predicted. They prepared weapons systems. They prepared defenses. They prepared to fight if it became necessary. The aliens appeared exactly where Rebecca said they would appear. They tried to change course. They tried to accelerate. But Rebecca had calculated for that too. She had predicted their changes, predicted their escape routes, predicted everything. The military did not fire. There were orders from the president. Hold position. Wait. Observe. The alien ships moved through the coordinates that Rebecca had predicted. They moved through the military perimeter. They realized that humans were not attacking them. They realized that humans were not trying to capture them. They realized that humans simply knew where they were going. The communication came through Lisa's channel. A signal from the alien commander. "You can predict our movements," the signal said. It was translated automatically by military computers, converted from alien frequencies into human language. "You cannot do this. You are not advanced enough. Your technology cannot do this." David grabbed the microphone. Lisa looked at him. She nodded permission. "We are more adaptable than you believe," David said into the microphone. His words were transmitted across every military satellite, converted into the alien frequencies, and sent out into space. "We are more resourceful than you believe. We took the data you did not want us to have. We built systems you did not think we could build. We learned to think like you. We learned to predict you." There was a long silence. Then the alien commander responded, "What do you want?" David did not hesitate. "We want you to stop. We want you to communicate. We want to know why you are here." Another silence. Longer this time. "We are scouts," the alien commander finally said. "We are preparing a report for the Galactic Council. We were told your species was primitive. We were told you could not detect advanced technology. We were told we were invisible to you." David felt his stomach tighten. The Galactic Council. Other civilizations. This was bigger than he had imagined. "We are primitive compared to you," David said into the microphone. "That is true. We do not have your weapons. We do not have your ships. We do not have your technology. But we have something else. We have the ability to think in ways you do not expect. We have the ability to adapt. We have the ability to turn your advantages against you." The alien commander's response came quickly. "Your determination is noted. We wish to understand you better. We wish to meet with your leaders in person. We wish to understand how a species, with your limitations, can accomplish what should be impossible." Lisa looked at David. He nodded. "Double quotes, we accept," David said. Rebecca was still in the NASA facility when the news came through. She sat back in her chair and closed her eyes. She had done it. She had given humanity the ability to stand against a superior enemy. Not through weapons. Not through force. Through thinking. Through prediction. Through adaptation. Kyle put his hand on her shoulder. "You changed the world," he said. Rebecca opened her eyes. "We changed it together. All of us." Outside the facility, the sun was rising over the desert. In orbit above Earth, the alien ships had stopped moving. They were waiting for humanity to come to them, waiting to meet the species that had refused to be defeated by superior technology. The age of human isolation was ending. The age of human contact with an alien civilization had begun, and it had started with an anomaly in the data, with a scientist who refused to ignore what he was seeing, with a team that refused to accept the impossible as an answer. The meeting took place at a secure military facility in Colorado. The alien ships had landed in a remote desert area. Only 3 humans would go down to meet them: David, Rebecca, and Lisa. The president had wanted to send soldiers. David had refused. "If we send soldiers," David had said, "we send a message that we are afraid. We send a message that we are hostile. We send a message that we want to fight. I am not sending that message." The military commander was not happy with this decision, but the president agreed with David. If humanity was going to stand equal with an alien civilization, humanity had to show strength through intelligence and courage, not through weapons. David stood in the aircraft as it flew over the desert. Rebecca sat across from him, looking out the window. Lisa was in the front, talking with the pilots. The aircraft would land 200 meters from the alien ships. That was as close as the military was willing to allow. When they landed, the wind was blowing hard. Sand swirled around the aircraft. David could see the alien ships clearly now. They were large, nearly as long as a military carrier. The hull was smooth and dark, like nothing human engineering had ever created. A ramp descended from the largest ship. David took a breath. He looked at Rebecca. She nodded. He looked at Lisa. She was already checking her communication device, making sure the Pentagon could hear every word. They walked toward the alien ship. The sand crunched under their feet. The wind pulled at their clothes. The ship seemed to grow larger with each step. When they reached the ramp, 3 figures emerged. The aliens were not what David had expected. They were tall, nearly 8 feet, with gray skin that seemed to shimmer slightly. Their heads were large and smooth. Their eyes were black and empty. Their hands had 4 fingers and 1 thumb. They wore clothing that seemed to be woven from the same material as their ships. The middle alien stepped forward. This was the commander. David could tell by the way the other 2 moved slightly behind. "I am Commander Vion," the alien said. The words came from a device on his chest, translated into English in a calm voice. "You are the human named David Patterson." "I am," David said. He kept his voice steady. "You are not welcome here." The aliens did not move. The commander tilted his head slightly. "Your communication indicates hostility." "No," David said. "It indicates honesty. You came to this solar system without permission. You came to observe humanity without revealing your presence. You came to make a report to a galactic council about whether humanity should be allowed to exist as independent beings, or if we should be conquered and controlled. That is not the action of a friend. That is the action of an enemy." Rebecca stepped forward slightly. "We tracked you. We predicted your movements. We showed you that we are not helpless. We are not primitive. We are capable. And we are standing here now, not because we are afraid, but because we choose to talk instead of fight." Commander Viren was silent for a long moment. "Your actions show intelligence, but your words show something else." "Show what?" "Respect," Lisa said. "We are demanding respect, not as a favor, not as a gift, as something we have earned through our actions. You believed you were invisible to us. You were wrong. That means something." The commander turned to look at the other 2 aliens. They seemed to communicate without speaking. When the commander turned back, he gestured toward the ship. "Come," he said. "We will talk in a place that is safe." The interior of the ship was cold. The walls were smooth and white. The lighting came from the walls themselves, glowing faintly. They entered a large chamber with a table made from the same material as everything else. 3 chairs appeared from the floor, formed from the walls themselves. They sat. The commander began to speak. "I have traveled through the galaxy for many years," Viren said. "I have observed hundreds of species. Most species develop technology slowly. They develop weapons slowly. They develop space travel slowly. Your species developed space travel in less than 100 years. You developed weapons that can destroy cities from hundreds of kilometers away. You develop faster with each passing year. That is why you came," David said. "You came to see if we are a threat." "Yes," the commander said. "The Galactic Council fears growth. Rapid growth can lead to rapid expansion. Rapid expansion leads to conflict. The Council was prepared to contain you, to prevent you from reaching the stars, to keep you isolated on your world. By force?" Rebecca asked. "If necessary," the commander said. Lisa leaned forward. "But you did not take that action. You observed us first. And while you were observing, we observed you. We learned that we could think in ways you do not expect. We learned that we could predict your movements. We learned that even though you have better technology, we have something you underestimated. What is that? The commander asked. Adaptability, David said. You move in patterns. You follow rules. You have systems and procedures. Humans are different. We break rules. We find new solutions. We think in ways that are not logical because our minds work differently. That is our advantage. The commander stood up. He walked to the wall and placed his hand on it. The wall became transparent. Beyond it, the desert spread out under the harsh sunlight. The Galactic Council will not accept this, Viren said. They will not accept that a young species with primitive technology can defend itself. Then they need to learn, David said. He stood also. You are going to go to the Galactic Council. You are going to tell them what happened here. You are going to tell them that humanity tracked you. You are going to tell them that humanity can think in ways you cannot predict. You are going to tell them that humanity is not a species to be controlled or contained. The commander turned back to face David. You demand this? Vian asked. Yes, David said. I demand this. As a representative of humanity, I demand that you tell the truth. I demand that you advocate for humanity in the Galactic Council. I demand protection status for Earth, and I demand that humanity be recognized as an independent species, equal to all others in the galaxy. Viren was silent. The other two aliens seemed to become agitated, but Viren held up his hand, and they calmed. You understand, Viren said slowly, that if I tell the Galactic Council what I have witnessed, it will change how they view your species. Yes, David said. That is exactly what we want. The commander walked back to the table. He looked at each human in turn. His black eyes seemed to contain something now. Something like respect. I will go to the Galactic Council, Viren said. I will tell them what happened here. I will tell them that humanity is a species that should be watched carefully. That humanity is a species that surprises you. That humanity is a species that should not be underestimated. David felt something release inside his chest. This was it. This was the moment humanity had claimed its place among the stars. Thank you, David said. Do not thank me, the commander said. Thank yourselves. You earned this. I will simply tell the truth about what I have witnessed. 2 weeks after the meeting in the desert, the Galactic Council responded. A delegation was coming to Earth. 5 species would send representatives. They would meet with human leaders. They would negotiate terms. David stood in the same facility where he had met Commander Viren. But this time, it was different. The military had set up a conference hall. Cameras were positioned to broadcast the meeting across the entire world. Millions of people would watch. Millions of people would see humanity stand on the world stage with alien species. The President of the United States stood beside David. The leaders of other major nations were there as well. Scientists, military commanders, politicians. All of them had come to witness this moment. When the aliens arrived, the conference hall fell silent. They came in through the main entrance. 5 different species. None of them looked like Commander Vran's people. They were different from each other in almost every way. One was small, barely 4 feet tall, with blue skin and multiple arms. Another was large and broad, with thick skin and a hunched posture. The third had an insectoid appearance, with a hard exoskeleton and too many joints. The fourth was almost human-like, tall and thin with pale skin. The fifth was something that seemed to be made partially of crystal. Commander Viren was there as well. Standing slightly to the side, the eldest of the delegation, a being with pale skin and clear, intelligent eyes, stepped forward. His voice was calm and precise. I am Counselor Thess, he said. I speak for the Galactic Council. We have come to understand why Commander Viarn has recommended protection status for your species. David stepped forward. I am David Patterson. I speak for humanity. Thank you for coming. Commander Viarn told us about your tracking systems, Counselor Thess said. He told us about the way you predicted his movements. He told us about your adaptability. These are unusual traits for a young species. Our strength comes from necessity, David said. Earth is a harsh world. Survival requires constant adaptation. Survival requires thinking in new ways. That is what we are. We are a species that survives through ingenuity, not through technology. Rebecca stepped forward, standing beside David. We also have something else. We have the ability to work together. When we discovered your presence, people from different nations, different governments, different backgrounds all came together. We put aside our differences because the situation required it. The insectoid alien made a sound like clicking. Counselor Thess turned to it. They seemed to communicate in a way humans could not understand. Then Thess turned back to David. The Council has questions, Thess said. Commander Viarn told us you can predict movements by understanding patterns. Show us. Show us this capability. David had prepared for this moment. He brought up a program on the main screen. It showed a series of complex movements. He asked the aliens to choose one at random. He gave them 5 seconds to make an unexpected change. Then he asked his system to predict where they would move next. The system was correct. Every time, the 5 alien species watched in silence. The crystalline beings seemed to pulse with light. The large broad being made deep sounds. But they all watched. When the demonstration was finished, Counselor Thess stood very still for a long moment. This is remarkable, he said finally. This is remarkable for a species your age. This is remarkable for a species with your limited technology. Our technology may be limited, Lisa said, stepping forward now. But our minds are not. Our ability to adapt is not limited. Our ability to work together is not limited. We are not what you expected us to be. Counselor Thess made a gesture. The other 4 aliens gathered closer. They communicated in ways that humans could not hear. David waited. Rebecca waited. Lisa waited. Finally, Counselor Thess turned back. The Galactic Council will grant humanity protection status, Thess said. Earth will be recognized as a sovereign world. Humanity will be recognized as a sapient species, equal in rights to all other species in the Council. The President stepped forward. David saw tears in the man's eyes. We accept, the President said. We accept with gratitude and with promise. We will be good neighbors to your community. There is one condition, Counselor Thess said. We will establish a permanent delegation on Earth. They will work with your governments. They will help you understand the galaxy and prepare to join the wider community of worlds. In return, you will agree to limited trade and cultural exchange. We accept this condition as well, the President said. The conference continued for hours. They discussed boundaries. They discussed technologies that could be shared. They discussed the future of humanity in a galaxy that was no longer hidden from them. When it was finished, when the agreements had been made and signed, the aliens prepared to leave. Commander Viarn approached David one more time. I have spoken to the Council, Viarn said. I told them that your species is unlike any I have encountered. I told them that your adaptability, your creativity, your willingness to think in unexpected ways makes you valuable. I told them that underestimating you would be a mistake. Thank you, David said. Do not thank me, Viarn said. You have earned this position. You have proven that human beings are more than just their technology. You have proven that the mind is as important as the machine. The Council will remember that. Other species will remember that. As the aliens left the facility, David stood with Rebecca and Lisa. They watched the ships rise into the sky. The ships that had come to secretly observe humanity. The ships that had come to decide if humanity was worth preserving. "We did it," Rebecca said. She was smiling, but there were tears on her face as well. "We survived," Lisa said. "We did not just survive. We thrived." David looked at the screens that were still broadcasting the event to the world. Billions of people were watching. Billions of people now knew that humanity was not alone. Billions of people now knew that humans had stood equal with alien species and been treated with respect. "No," David said. "We did something more than that. We changed the future. Every human being on this planet now knows that we are part of something bigger. We know that we can stand with other species as equals. We know that our adaptability, our creativity, our determination is valuable." That night, celebrations began across the world. People gathered in streets and parks. They looked up at the sky and wondered at the stars. They thought about the worlds that existed out there, the worlds that were now open to them. David sat in a quiet room, watching the celebrations on screens. He thought about how it had started, with an anomaly in the data, with Rebecca noticing something that was not right, with Kyle building the systems that made prediction possible, with Lisa bringing them the military data, with Henry Cooper protecting them, with the president trusting them to negotiate for all of humanity. It had started with one man noticing something wrong. And now, everything had changed. The age of human isolation was over. Humanity had looked up at the stars and found others looking back. And instead of fighting, instead of hiding, humanity had adapted. Humanity had learned. Humanity had overcome. The aliens had believed they were unseen. They had believed humanity was helpless. They were wrong. And now, the galaxy would learn what humanity was truly capable of.